everybody, this is Ali with Rio Mar Travel Organizers YouTube channel. Welcome. Today I want to share with you 5 tips that I personally used this weekend when I went on a long road trip. The video you're about to watch was a Facebook Live, but don't worry, I make sure that I edited anything that was not applicable to this video. But before you watch the video, if you like what you see, would you please hit the like button? It's like you're giving me a tip that you don't have to pay for. And if you want to see any more videos about packing, trips, travel, anything like that, subscribe to the channel and you will get notifications when I upload the next video. Okay, now on with the show. So actually, today I want to share with you some of the tips I personally used over the weekend when I was on a road trip. I went to, actually this past weekend I did airplanes, cars, and train rides, like all 3. It was a lot of fun. And one of the, as I was, in my trip, when we were doing the road trip for like a couple of hours from one city to the little town where we were staying at, I thought about, the 5 tips that I had already typed and talked about in my blog on my website. And you can find the link here. I've attached the link. And I want to go over those tips again because I want to kind of add a couple of things, not a lot, just a few things, but they came actually out, they were important things. So tip number 1 is to make sure your vehicle is serviced and it has a full tune-up. Now, in our case, we rented a car, so you're depending on the rental company for them to actually, service the vehicles. But of course, you don't want to, just leave. If you're driving your own vehicle, you just don't want to leave without having to do that first, making sure your car is in shape and it's able to handle however many hours you're going to be driving. So that's one thing, but this tip really didn't apply too much for us because we were actually, renting a vehicle. But it's always good to, make sure you check the tires, make sure you check the basics at least before you head over, on your road trip. The tip number 2 was to get your home in order before leaving. And let me tell you, that was such a relief when we arrived yesterday and the house was clean. The house was organized. All we had to do was unpack our things and do laundry or whatever. But we didn't find a messy house. We didn't find, things all over the place. You're already stressed from the trip, especially we flew there, then we did a road trip for 2 hours, then we did a train ride and come back. It was very active weekend. So having to come home to a messy house would have been a nightmare. Nobody can rest like that. So that was a good tip, that I, put into practice myself. Tip number 3 was bringing an emergency kit with you. Now, not only bringing an emergency kit, like having extra blankets, especially where we went was cold, or having extra phone chargers, having like some emergency, like alcohol and things like that. But also, we also filled up a tank of gas and gasoline, and we had it in the trunk because where we were going, we were not sure if we were going to have access to a gas station, and we rented an SUV. So those, we were surprised of how little gas that SUV needed. But better safe than sorry, right? So we had that is something that is it was my husband's idea, and it was a great idea. But always having, jumper cables and um, those batteries and things like that, and having water and snacks in the car is always good as well. So that was something that I truly was able to implement as well. Tip number 4 was to plan for those moments without Wi Fi. And let me tell you, not just for the trip, the road trip, but also on the plane. Even though the plane had Wi Fi, but you could only watch movies from their app. If you have any books or any podcast that you listen to, or any games that you play on your phone, you want to download them before you head on to your trip, because there are spots that there is no Wi-Fi connection. And where we went, there were a lot of times when we didn't have Wi-Fi connection. So this tip talks about downloading the map and taking screenshots of the direction. And we did that, and when we had Wi-Fi, we put it on the phone. But my husband also rented a GPS from the rental car company, and that was very, very good, because you don't lose connection, so you always know where you're going. And it just downloads the map for you, the directions, and it doesn't matter if you're going wherever you are, that there's no Wi-Fi. So that was a good thing. But definitely make sure you download anything that you want to listen to, or you want to read, or anything like that, because there will be times when there is no connection and there's nothing to hear. And you know you can only talk so much for 2 3 hours in a car, or on the plane you can't really be talking a lot. So that was a good tip. And tip number 5 is cash is king. And yes, we all need a credit card. We all need to, to rent the car, you need the credit card. To rent the hotels, you need, or the Airbnb. But when you have cash and you're out and about and you're in the middle of the road somewhere, and you found this little convenience store, you need to have cash with you, because you don't know. I mean, they may take the debit card, that's great, or your credit card, but cash is king, right? I mean, you always want to make sure you carry some cash with you, and you can hide it under your socks or wherever. A lot of people get very creative with which ways that you can hide the cash, but always, always, always carry some cash with you. It's just faster and it's easier. So those were the 5 tips that I have on my website, that I actually was able to put into practice this week. And I think the only thing I could add in there was, having an extra tank of gas with you, if you can. If it's, if you're going somewhere where there would not be a lot of civilization, then you definitely want to plan for that. And download all your podcasts, not just the map, but anything that you want to read, or anything that you want to do, any games, anything like that, that may not be available without Wi-Fi. Make sure you download those so you can do something while you're traveling, if you're not the one driving, obviously. um, but yes, it was really interesting, and it was a lot of fun. We went to Denver, and then we went to some town called Cripple Creeks, and it was beautiful. It was really, really nice. But if you want to read in details the 5 tips, they're down. The link is down below. And that's it for this week. I'm actually working on a new little product for Mother's Day, that it's something different I have never done before. And I hope you're will enjoy it, but I will show you that next week because I'm still sewing. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you again very, very soon. Bye.